Battlefield 6 has finally made a few changes that have been a point of contention since the game's launch in an update today, with a handful of other things that have been mentioned as upcoming changes in the near future. Today we're going to take a bit of time to let you know everything you need to about what changed, what's logged, and the known issues that are being investigated directly by the Battlefield 6 team. Drop your thoughts, drop a like, and make sure to subscribe for more to stay up to date with all things Battlefield 6, RedSec, Arc Raiders, and even more FPS content as we chase down 700,000 subscribers together. We still got a ton of bigger projects that I'm working on for basically all of those titles and more that I'd love to have in the community for, but for now, let's get into it. So first, starting with the most immediately recognizable of things, gameplay and challenge changes. The assignment challenges for Battlefield 6 were one of those things that, since launch, kind of threw some people off. On one hand, you had players that appreciated the elongated nature of the game's progression, and to a degree, I 100% agree that Battlefield, as a game that has a longer lifespan than just year-over-year turnover, should have a longer progression than instantaneous unlock situations. But on the other hand, some of the challenges, keeping in mind more casual players, they would take a long time to complete, if not even having some people give up before completing some of those challenges. Sometimes even relating to weapon unlocks, that the progression to unlock a weapon that you want to try out would just be well beyond the timing that an average Joe would be willing to put into to try that. Now, this is why we saw the prominence of things like XP bot farm lobbies rise around the launch, and have been that issue that DICE has been trying to mitigate since then, finding a balance of worthy grind for specific weapons and other assignment rewards without diminishing the gameplay experience in any capacity. And why I personally think we started to see that casual breakthrough being introduced to take that away from portal replication and instead house it in a way that is a middle ground that can't get too far abused in that sort of portal selection. But they've taken some steps to mitigate that stuff. However, it was mentioned that we'd see some challenge adjustments and assignment adjustments in the near future. In an official community update, the Battlefield team has mentioned, as we continue to build on the improvements we mentioned previously, we are also delivering a major overhaul of challenges and assignments, guided by gameplay data and your feedback. Some of the adjustments in this update are substantial, and we want to share more context on how we arrive at them. This update makes significant reductions to challenge requirements, cutting down on time investment while maintaining a focus on skill-driven progression that rewards consistent play. Challenges and assignments are tuned around defined playtime targets, and these changes bring their requirements in line with those goals to make them more achievable within a reasonable session length. Assignments will continue to range from goals you can complete through regular play to a few that reward true mastery, particularly those tied to cosmetic items. Some of the original criteria did not fully reflect that intent, and we've updated them to make their difficulty and purpose clearer. The first set of challenges went live today through a server-side update and are available immediately. Any progress you've already made will automatically be applied when you enter a match, unlocking any challenges or assignments you may now meet based upon the updated criteria. As previously indicated, the scale of our plans for challenges and assignments are large and will take place over multiple server-side and client-side updates. Expect additional updates in the future. We wanted to get the first set of changes into your hands as soon as possible while we prepare for further game updates. We'll follow up with more details on the rollout in the future. In this first set of changes, we made a total of 90 plus adjustments to challenges and assignments, with those notable changes including things like Assault 2, where you had to have squad mates deploy under spawn beacon. This is now reduced from 50 to only 5. Support 2 required you to revive teammates as support. That was reduced from 200 revives down to 60. Rapid Fire 1 for assault rifles was to inflict damage with assault rifles. That was requiring 10,000 inflicted damage. It's now requiring only 3,000. Conquest 2 was wins in Conquest, where that's reduced from 5 to 2. Conquest 3 was objective kills in a round of Conquest. That was reduced from 30 objective kills in a round to now 10. Explosive Expert 2, we had to get multi-kills of 2+ onwards with explosives. That was reduced from 20 multi-kills down to 5. Then Adaptable 2, you had to repair damaged vehicles in a life. That was reduced from 3,000 damage to only 500 now. And I think perhaps the biggest ones that were adjusted, not even mentioned in this update, surprisingly, which I really don't understand. For me personally speaking, the Deadeye 2 challenge, taking that required 150 headshots at 200 plus meters and changing that to only requiring now 5 of those. So quite the drastic change there. Still challenging, especially in a scenario where bot farms are taken out of the equation, mostly speaking, but still a challenge, adjusted to make it more manageable, keeping the integrity of the challenge intact, while also allowing you to likely experience the PSR earlier in your progression and gameplay experience. Additionally, another one that was super annoying for everybody I know that completed it was that of the suppressing enemies with LMGs, taking that from 300 enemies suppressed down to now just requiring only 10, and that hip fire damage associated with that from 10,000 down now to just 3,000. So not sure why they didn't list some of these as like they're the most annoying ones that I think, but a pleasant surprise, I'd say. However, it should be noted that there are plenty of reports of these visibly being credited, but not actually crediting and allowing for the unlock to go through. Like for me, personally speaking, I was a few headshots away from the PSR, right? Well, with the update, I now have it completed, except if I go into my customization and try and equip the weapon, it says I don't have it, that I have to complete the Deadeye 2 challenge. And even if I go and follow that challenge tracking from the in-game menu where I can select the PSR and it's locked, if I go from there, it says I have it unlocked. So there's this weird feedback loop of something not connecting on the back end that is not quite connecting as it should. So like, things aren't exactly working entirely as intended at the moment, but I'd imagine that's ironed out here soon. But okay, what if there's still another challenge that you didn't quite like that wasn't updated just yet? Is this the end of it? Well, not quite. That's where you have to call back to the mention of the first set of challenges that went live today. This being a server-side update, something that was just pushed through as of the actual game client being booted up. You didn't have to download anything or anything like that. So they did mention that the scale of these challenges and assignments are still very large and will take place over multiple updates on the server side and additional client-side updates. So these updates are still going to be rolling out. They could happen tomorrow. They could happen in a week. They could be something that requires you to download something that could be part of a major patch. But they stated they wanted to get the first set of changes into your hands as soon as possible while preparing further game updates. But okay, they mentioned multiple changes upcoming here. We've also actually heard about some other changes in the near future. As to when, we can speculate on that in just a second, but additional changes coming in the future for Battlefield 6 in particular. The ladder glitch is going to have a fix. The recon drone and the sledgehammer exploits, those apparently will have a fix coming. The IFV painted insta-kill, that thing that ends up happening where the rockets are taking down aerial vehicles in one hit instantly, that's got a fix upcoming. Air radar not working, fix coming for that. Additional weapon scope visual bugs fixed, and there are other things like the jump then die bug that's persisting as well. Controller aim assist settings also are something that's on the board for coming in the near future. We're apparently going to be reverting back on controller to the open beta settings and everything that we had for values there, meaning that aim assist is going to be slightly toned down a little bit with that. They also mentioned things they were looking into with changes not necessarily guaranteed in the next update or having a timetable associated with them, but that they are investigating. Things like RedSec footstep audio and mixes for the overall audio in RedSec, Russian breakthrough layouts, weapon recoil concerns, official and verified portal servers being run at 60 hertz and upgrade there, where David Serlin mentioned they have to get rid of all the previous XP focused setups with bots and everything cleaned up before they can get the portal servers running on these new setups. Regions with low and small populations, apparently they're running tests for these regions for persistent servers so that players can consistently end up getting into matches there. The portal server browser UX apparently is going to have some improvements coming and some other things like that. But as for the timing of the next couple of updates here that we can maybe expect for things like these additional challenge changes, for those things we just mentioned in terms of the bug fixes and exploits coming along with that, right now there's of course going to seemingly be some stuff that is sooner rather than later. The big things that they acknowledged already is server-side versus client-side updates. Server-side just being something that as soon as you boot up the game, when you get that playlist update, it'll be live, it'll be there. That kind of stuff can truly happen at whatever point, but for players like us that we need to download stuff, well, we already know that there's a major update about 2 weeks from now, that being the second phase of Season 1, where that is going to end up giving us Eastwood and a couple of other things alongside that it's going to require an actual title update. We're going to have to download more data for the game, and that could be when we see things like recoil adjustments, weapon tuning, other things that actually like impact the fundamental portions of the game, not just specific values for challenges. However, what's interesting is that while that's like the furthest maybe backstop I'd say here for this, the next time we can really talk about this in serious nature at the latest, it has been mentioned by the 1BF data mining group that there is apparently going to be an update next week on the 11th. So if that's the case, that could just be a couple of days away now at this point, where a title update comes in and brings a lot of these changes, if not all of these that we're already anticipating. But for right now, it's still a little bit of a question mark. I'd say that you can maybe look forward towards that Tuesday update here on the 11th, but at the same time, latest for some of these, maybe not all of them, because some things, of course, are being investigated rather than saying they have a fix on the ready. Some of these things you can maybe look towards a backstop of the 18th and that Phase 2 update for Season 1. But anyways, I think it's a nice push in the right direction. Of course, there's still a lot of moving parts here to this that we don't have everything nailed down, but changes, updates, I think are always welcomed when we get them. So I wanted to fill you guys in and share this with you so that you know exactly what you can jumping into, and that, hey, maybe you can check out some of your assignments and maybe have some progress that you otherwise wouldn't. Maybe some things unlocked that you didn't before. So drop your thoughts down below. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all things Battlefield 6 and other FPS content. I'd love to have in the community, but for now, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for watching. Mine's been Espresso. Take care and peace.